Hey everyone, welcome to SatsOverCents. I am Varun and I have Ajay with me. We are thrilled to have you here. So, this channel is all about one thing, which is Bitcoin, right? So, if you ever felt confused, curious, or excited about Bitcoin, you are in the right place. At SatsOverCents, our mission is to simplify Bitcoin for everyone, share our personal experiences and give you the tools to understand why Bitcoin is not just a financial asset, but a game changer for the future of money and our personal freedom. So, whether you're new to the space or maybe you've been around, but still you don't get the bigger picture. So, this channel is probably for you, and we are here to guide you and help you. So we'll talk about Bitcoin fundamentals, real life examples, and debunk myths, if any, and even get into how you can avoid making the mistakes that we've made it earlier on in our journey. So let's dive in. How it all began, I would say that my personal journey with Bitcoin began way back in 2015. It's hard to believe, but almost a decade ago, yes, a few of my friends, casually mentioned this thing called Bitcoin to me. At that time, Bitcoin was still pretty unknown outside certain tech or financial circles. It sounded interesting, but honestly, I really didn't get it. I didn't understand the revolutionary concept of decentralization or why it mattered. For me, it was more about this idea that you could make quick money if you timed the market right? Like a lot of people back then. I saw Bitcoin as an opportunity to jump in and make some money and get out before it all came crashing down. So that was my initial thought process. I wasn't really thinking about Bitcoin in terms of long term value. I wasn't asking myself, what is money? What makes Bitcoin different from dollars I've always used, or rather any other fiat currencies? To be completely honest, I was just looking to make some quick cash, and you know what? I wasn't alone. So many people were attracted to Bitcoin because of the price element, and we all thought that we could get rich fast without understanding the real power behind it. So I jumped into Bitcoin. I believe it or not, I casually made some money. I rode the hype for a bit, and I also made a rookie mistake like many others way back then. I invested in BitConnect. Yes, BitConnect. If you've been around long enough, you would know what I'm talking about. It was this notorious crypto Ponzi scheme that promised insane returns, like where you put your Bitcoin and you keep getting interest, and the interest rate was insane. It was so easy to get caught up in the excitement because it seemed like everyone was making money. So looking back, I was just chasing quick profits without thinking long term, whether where I'm going. And BitConnect did teach me a valuable lesson: the importance of understanding the fundamentals, or what are you investing in. And it wasn't just about buying low and selling high. It was about understanding the technology, the principles, and what makes Bitcoin unique. So at one point, I moved to a new country in 2017, in Canada, and that transition opened a new chapter in the crypto journey. And I still call it crypto because back then I was still into Bitcoin and few altcoins, right? And where everybody thought that I wanted to get into altcoins because I wanted to make more Bitcoin out of the money invested in, and the idea was to keep churning in, invest in the next big thing, or a bigger, better idea than Bitcoin. That was a learning phase for me, but it's important to say this: experimenting with altcoins didn't give me the clarity I was looking for. It was still more about speculation, about then understanding the deeper value of Bitcoin. So looking back, I realized that I was missing the forest for the trees, if I have to put that into right perspective. I was focused on trying to find the next big thing. I didn't see that was biggest thing was already in front of me, which was Bitcoin. So I would say the turning point was literally 2019, end of 2019 or 2020 onwards, right? Where everything changed for me. 2020 was a pivotal year for so many reasons, globally, politically, economically. It was the year I finally decided to take Bitcoin seriously. So I made a conscious decision to study Bitcoin, not just as a speculative asset, but to understand its real value. So that's when I started diving into the work of key players in the Bitcoin space. I began following people like Jeff Booth, Len Alden, and Michael Saylor. And back then, Tesla also bought Bitcoin on its balance sheet. And I would say just 6 months before, I was doing all of my research, following a key YouTubers who were offering in-depth, thoughtful explanation of why Bitcoin is important as a new form of money. Right? It's just beyond money. It's freedom. It's energy. It's everything, right? It was the first time we humans had a finite asset that we could buy, and there would be a time where people would pay any kind of money to get hold of that, right? To have that part of the portfolio. So suddenly things started to click. I realized that Bitcoin wasn't just about price speculation or making a quick buck. It was about a fundamentally different financial system, one that was decentralized, censorship resistant, and inflation proof, right? These were things I had never really considered before. So that's what I got what Bitcoin was. Before I could actually understand Bitcoin, I had to ask myself, what is money? How is money created and how it is distributed? Why is that rich is becoming richer and why poor is becoming poorer? So people who are close to the money printer tend to make the most of it. Yeah. And people who are far away from the money printer, like us common people, we were the one who were struggling with inflation and devaluation and taxes, all of that. Right. So you can say from 2020 onwards, I became a Bitcoin maximalist, right? Went through my first Bitcoin cycle, watching the bull and bear markets, and trying to understand what truly matters. So yeah, so if you don't go through the cycle, you might sell too early. I feel that everybody eventually will go through the cycle, and maybe you'll take profits at the wrong time, or even worse, you might withdraw your principal and leave your profits behind. Again, because everybody's got their own journey, right? And it's important that you also tend to capitalize on your profits, because eventually the idea is to be financial freedom, be location independent, right? That's the true richness. So what does that mean? It means now I see Bitcoin as the most important and most revolutionary financial tool we have. It also means that I've learned that everyone goes through these cycles in the space, and honestly, I think that's healthy. Right? That will take you. You have to go to that rabbit hole. You have to understand that why Bitcoin is superior, why there is no second best, like Michael Saylor says, and actually there is no second best. So yeah. So moving on, what you can expect from this channel, SatsOverCents? Well, we are going to break things down in a way that makes Bitcoin simple and approachable. We'll talk about real life examples of how Bitcoin is changing people's lives, right? And why Bitcoin is far superior to other traditional assets like real estate, stocks, or even gold. And I'll also share my personal stories and lessons from my journey so that you can learn from my mistakes and successes. And my goal is to help you see why Bitcoin matters, and not just for investors, but for everyday people, right? So this was me about my journey. Now I have my brother, I would say rather a partner. And AJ, over to you. Please do share your invaluable insights in your journey on Bitcoin.
Thank you, thank you. That was really good, really detailed. Even I have learned a few things. I thought I knew it all that you've been through in your journey, but that was very detailed, very good. So thanks for sharing that. From my point of view, mine is not as exciting, or I haven't been there and done that a lot like how Varun has. In fact, Varun was the one who actually pushed me to get into it. I still have his message on Twitter where he first messaged me. I think it was back in 2017, where he said, "Hey, you need to look at something called Bitcoin, and it's really good, and it's going to change the game." And I very kindly, ignored that message, which was shooting myself in the foot. I wish I hadn't. So once again, apologies for that. But talking about Bitcoin and me, so again, as Varun said, for me as well, my journey started as Varun mentioned. As I mentioned, Varun messaged me on Twitter saying, "Hey, look at this," and I ignored it. And then, end of 2019, it was really heating up. Things were really heating up. It was in mainstream media. And then I think January 2020 is when Elon Musk kind of shared that he's bought Bitcoin. And then if you look at the charts, or if you look at the price point, a Bitcoin price, it hasn't gone, below that price. It's only shot up. So I think it really took some time for it to come in my radar, to the point where I could take action on it. So I think it was about September 2020 when I was moving from London, UK to India temporarily because of COVID. I opened an account with Binance, I think it was, and I think the price at the time was, about $20,000 US dollars, something like that. And till then, everybody was ignoring it. Oh no, it's just another, spike in the price, and it's going to go down again. But little did we know. So if you look at the chart prices in Bitcoin 2020 from November, it went up 215% from 20,000. It went all the way to 60,000. Don't quote me on the numbers. It's not exact number. This is just ballpark where it is. So the reason I'm sharing that with you is because I am, ever since I have evolved, I look at the charts more than anything else. Um I think Varun is more of a, I would say, a fundamental research analyst than I am, and I look at the charts more because that excites me. The price points, and the price excites me, so I can live on charts all day. And then ever since, I've been, just following what Varun has been guiding me in terms of what to do with Bitcoin. Again, like not just us, but like the whole world, we got into all sorts of altcoins, and cryptocurrencies became this big casino of the world, and everybody had their mentality to buy some Dogecoin or some Ethereum or some ADA, and they were all selling the dream. So I was part of that, where I, like a roulette, I placed my bets on all the 36 numbers, thinking I'll win one. Little did I know it's only going to give me what I've initially invested. So like everyone, I'm trying to get away with altcoin. I'm still in some of the altcoins. I'm not a total Bitcoin maxi just yet, like how Varun is. But the idea is to get to BTC maxi at some point. I'm hoping by next year. Yeah, so that's me. That's my journey, and I'm not a full-time Bitcoin crazy that I like to talk about, or I like to read about. I am more of the, like I said, person who lives on the charts. So, and that's what I do. So we will get into the charts at some point, but that's who I am, and that's what I do. Over to you.
Thank you so much, AJ, for a brief introduction. So, today's episode is all about giving you guys about a little background on our Bitcoin journey. And moving forward, we would be coming up with some innovative and creative topics. And feel free to ask us questions. And if you want us to cover a specific topic, but more or less, this is a Bitcoin channel. That's why it's called SatsOverCents. And wherever we can talk about, wherever we have to put a quantified number in our theory, in our thoughts, or in our, in our opinions, we'll have AJ's perspective, because he's a technical guy who would give us a detailed picture where the price is going. And we all know that we are in middle of a bull market, and the idea is to make the most of it and eventually buy our freedom back, where we are free to do what we want. So thank you so much for joining us today, and the idea is to keep educating, be humble, and keep stacking those sats. Thank you so much, and you guys have a wonderful week ahead.